This talk today that I'm going to be sharing with you, this place in a crowd, is my journey through trying to understand my place in education and what I wanted my classroom and my students to look like. And it starts with something that I was taught with my dad. He always said, "What are you getting up for in the morning? What do you want to do?" And I thought to myself as a teacher, what is bringing my students to school? Why are they coming back every day? And the most important question for me is, what is going to lead them to be successful? Move past complying. I'm coming to school because I have to, and you're sending someone to get me if I don't. And going into acquiring skills, being excited to share their learning. And for me, in my experience, I've been led to conclude that students need to have a place in their learning. Students need to authentically buy in every day to why they're coming to my classroom, and not just for themselves. Not just walk in and I'm here because, but have a place in relation to the rest of the folks that are in the room. If they're not here one morning, learning will break down. Our system needs to be framed so that each person has a purpose and a place in their education. And not some desk clearing thing, not some, "Hey, why don't you take attendance for me today?" Or, "Hey, why don't you do this?" A meaningful goal. They need to come down. And I work in a culinary arts classroom right now. We're working on apprenticing chefs. They're cooks right now. They're trying to get there. They're trying to work to being a chef. And when they come down for a morning meeting, they have a place. They walk down. And when we start to see this happen, we see some transformation, not only in our classroom, but in the culture of our school. And it's been very fun to be part of that process. Now, what's interesting is that do we need every teacher everywhere to do this? Well, I think that's our goal. But what we need is every student to have one place in the building that they're dialed in. Because when we start to see that dialed in, we see the spillover in the investment of their own learning, the learning of others, and the accountability for what happens in the building. And the spillover that we're seeing are is sort of a transformation of skills. And the first thing we see is confidence. I noticed that my students who are walking in their street clothes and their hair's in their face and they don't necessarily make eye contact, all of a sudden come down for morning meeting with their uniform on and their posture's up and they're smiling and they're looking me in the eye. Well, that's the first step. The first step is being able to look somebody in the eye, having that posture, the confidence to be in the room. I'm here. I'm ready to do this. And then they move on to working for skill development, practicing, designing their ideas. And really, what's important for us is that we can facilitate this through helping the students help themselves. Because progress, in particular in my area, skill happens faster if we can work together, if they can learn from each other. If we can grow from expertise, you'll see some different coat colors. You'll see a white, a red, and a black. That signifies the year of training. So year 1 is white, year 2 is red, year 3 is black. And they're learning from each other. They don't have to wait for me anymore. They don't have to stand in line and wait till I get there. They can start to learn from each other. And when you're coming into a classroom and you're wearing your coat and you know that you're going to be running a brigade and the learning of others is going to be impacted if you're not there or how you're doing it, skill development happens quickly. We start to see a change happening. We see a desire to demonstrate learning. One of the fun things that happens sometime in the first month of school is kids running up, trying to find me with their phones. Like, "Look what I made last night. Look what I did. Here's the video of me cutting. I just want to show you how much I've improved." Well, I'm sure that it's fun for their parents to know what they eat every day and to be brought into their kitchens. I'm sure they really appreciate that. The video of the safety hazards that are occurring in southern Alberta every day that I get to see. But it's exciting that kids are taking what they're learning and they're transferring it. They really want to show off. They really want to talk about it. they also want to be mentored, and they want to mentor. And so it becomes a place where when a student has a desire and I really want to learn how to do this, can we do puff pastry today? Well, what tools do we have as educators to facilitate that? Sometimes you just can't drop and do a puff pastry like you'd like to. But with technology and iPads, I have a series of friends who are chefs and who are bakers who I can say, hey, can you Google Hangout with my kid today? Are you making any puff pastry? Well, they can be online. And they're looking for mentors. They'll come in and they'll say, I was working on shift last night, and my sous chef, he'll come online, and we can make the velouté we made in the restaurant. Can I do that, chef? Well, they're excited. And then they're excited to share that learning. And that's the spillover of that engagement. For me, there's a place in the middle of the semester where I kind of feel like the rubber hits the road. And I can evaluate, how well am I doing this? How well have I created a framework in my room for students to really feel dialed in? And that is when they want to take on leadership. Not the sexy part of leadership, I want the title, I want the glory, I want to be able to put this in. But they're willing to be what I think true leadership is about. A true leader will work to make the lives of the people around them easier. And are they doing that? Are they getting all of those little pieces of leadership? And for me, it comes when a student runs down early, starts messing around in the walk-in cooler. Then they start messing around in dry storage. And then they're pulling out paper and they're writing. And then all of a sudden, they take the deep breath. And they walk over to me. And their eyes are shining and they're bright. And they're nervous and they just... Chef, okay, I was at this restaurant last night, and I tasted this dish, and I did all the mise en place. We have everything that we need. Can we make it for a chef special today? Well, yeah, you can. How do you say no to that? But not only, I say, well, in morning meeting, you need to let me know how many people you need on your brigade. And that's really all I say to them. How many people do you need? And we get to them, and they're nervous because they're sometimes talking in front of their classmates for the very first time, and they say, well, how many of you need marks for studying an onion? How many need marks for cheffonade? How many? And they go through the learning objectives that are going to be accomplished in their meal. That's leadership. They're not picking their friends. I know I'm going to have a good time with this buddy. They're picking students to be on their brigade because of the learning opportunities that they are sharing with their classmates. That's when we know we've nailed it. That's when we know we've gotten to that place where kids are dialed in. They're really coming with a sense of purpose and engagement and to help other people, and that's exciting. And that's what happens. That right there, an appetizer spread. It's really, really fun to watch. We also start to see their ownership. This is a pretty common thing. Kids just so excited to take pictures, to show off what they're doing. One of the comments I get from when we're out and about from folks who are participating in our service for the first time is the astonishment over how excited students are to share their learning. I can't believe they want to talk about this. I can't believe how proud they are. Well, wouldn't it be amazing if they were proud of all the things that they got to demonstrate in a day? They're accountable. We have an interesting thing that because of our classes being the nature that they are and students are rotating, they may start a dish and actually not finish it. And we may start it the day before. We may start our mise en place and then finish it at lunch. Well, the folks who started the meal, they will know every part of it. They will be checking in with the other classes to know who touched what, how did it go. They're going to come and check sales. They're going to check pricing. They're going to see how much is left over. They're going to check on the cleanup of the kitchen. They feel so accountable for the entire process of the learning, not just the part that they got to participate in, but the entire meal. And that is exciting to watch and see. They like to create partnerships. What's important to us is fair trade, sustainable food products, and we started selling some fair trade coffee and tea right from the beginning when we started our marketplace, as students need to learn beverage service. And we still don't actually serve alcohol in high school, so What we needed to do is provide a different outlet for that beverage service. I don't know why. It's something we're working on, I guess. And so what they try to do is they try to build in some investment from the industry in their learning. And so they're creating partnerships with the fair trade companies and coffees and bringing them in. And those kind of partnerships can't happen by one single teacher alone. That has to be driven from a classroom. It has to be driven from people who are excited and buying in to what you're doing and wanting to be a part of it. My challenge for all of us as educators is find a way to create that place for your students. Find a way that each student in our school is dialed in one place. And for students, find a way to be dialed in. Find what your passion area is and find a place in the school that you can actually transcend and you can show off your skills. You can practice the things that you want to practice and you can be involved in how other people are learning in your building. Thank you very much for letting me share what we do.